I am a big believer in actually wearing clothing that looks great and also promotes you. So today I'm going to talk to the amazing Kathryn Bell of Team Equestrian Shop, who is the lady behind doing all of my branded clothing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about logos and branding and how you can get your stuff on some really cool kit that's going to work as an equestrian, but also we've got some special offers for you. So make sure you listen all the way to the end so you don't miss out on those. Ready? Let's go. You're listening to the Stable Business Podcast. I'm your host, Jenni Bush, here to chat all things equine business with a new episode every week from me or from the best in the biz. Now, don't forget to leave a review and, of course, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode when it drops. Welcome, Kathryn, to the Stable Business Podcast. I am so excited to have Kathryn join us today because most of you will have already seen my amazing gilets that I wear and with my branding on and the Equestrian Business Support Network. And Kathryn is the lovely lady behind that and Team Equestrian. Kathryn, tell us a bit more about who you are and what you do.
So I live in the Cotswolds, southwest England, and I'm mid-40s. I'm a mum, and I started my business in 2018. I wanted to provide printed and embroidered clothing specifically for equestrian businesses, but as well as that, do equestrian clubs and teams. We specialize in team shops so that the individual members can order their items on my website so that secretaries and treasurers don't have to get involved and collect the orders and collect the money in and then submit a bulk order. So that is me, and the business is Team Equestrian.
Yeah. And I think it's like I've been in positions where I've had to run the uniform shop, as I like to term it, and it is tricky. Like it's a lot to manage if it's done in house, and I think it's brilliant that you can set up the website and get everything there so that people can just go off and order it. And so, like, what do you find is really key in order to get the right sort of impression from those like branded and clothing? Because I can imagine that not every single logo or business like works very well on clothing, or does it?
No, you're quite right. Not every logo would work for embroidery, and if it's not a high enough resolution, it won't work for print either. And when I say high enough resolution, I mean, like, sometimes if you zoom in on an image that's your logo, it can be a little bit fuzzy, and if you blow that up for printing, then it blows up fuzzy as well. So you need a high resolution image. And with embroidery as well, you've got to think about the colours that you're using. You know, if you want blue garments and you've got a blue logo, you've got to think about a different colour that's going to stand out on the garments. And also, really small text isn't going to stand out. So it's definitely worth having a conversation with an embroiderer before you decide on your logo and what you're going to have embroidered.
Yeah, because I guess people don't think about that when they're starting off their business and they're thinking about their branding and they're getting all of that together. A lot of the time they're just thinking, oh, what we'll do will look pretty, and sometimes it's the practical aspect of it. And I'll often say to people, but you've got to think about the long-term use of your logo. Like, is there different ways of using it? Where are you going to use it, and is it actually going to fit? And I know that I've had to tweak my logo several times over the years in order to make it. And people that have followed me, like, say, I set up in 2018 as well. So, like, people that have followed me over the years will probably have seen that development in terms of sort of logos and things. Like, what would your advice be in terms of getting that branding and that logo put together properly?
Keep it simple. I don't. I mean, maybe it's a personal preference, but I don't like anything that's too fussy, that's too fine a detail. You know, if you think of the really well-known brands out there, like I don't know, Amazon, Mars, Lego. I'm just looking around my house and I can see Lego behind me. Yeah. You know, things like that. It's really simple, but you know, instantly recognizable branding. And there's two ways you can go about that. You can, you know, seek out a professional logo designer. I know you've done some in the past as well, Jenny, haven't you? I've embroidered some logos that you've designed. Well, and you did your own one, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, so I often say to people, I can. I don't do it as a service, but yeah, so when people are working with me, sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'll pull up all the tools and I'll have a go for you and see what comes up.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be crisp and clean enough. And I think there is this temptation to make it look fancy and beautiful, but sometimes it's like, actually, how easy is that? Yeah, will that embroider well? Will that print well? Will that look good? And so if you do blow it up, make it smaller, is it still going to be like legible? Like can people read it? Because it's so fussy. I don't know if you've ever come across that. And like even with my Equestrian Business Support Network logo, I've got like stickers. So again, like making them small enough and knowing that I can still read it, I think is really important. Where some fonts are just too fancy, aren't they? And they just don't really
That's
like.
it.
So
Yeah.
like the bit isn't really easy to read, but it doesn't matter to me too much. That bit, it's kind of just like an accent.
That's not part of the word, is it? You need to identify the bits that are recognisable, and run with that.
Stand out for the right reason.
Yes, exactly. And you can design your own logos. So I've advised people to do in the past, use either Canva or Adobe Express to design your own logo. But then you're in danger of it being exactly the same as somebody else down the road. And you haven't got that unique logo then. I've embroidered the same logo countless times for different companies.
I can imagine which one. I think I probably know there's a particular horse that I see a lot, and and I know that it comes from Canva because when I first set up, I used the same horse as well, but only briefly. Like I had it when I first set up just to put something out there on my Facebook page, and a lot of the time I say people, you don't have to stick with that logo forever. Don't feel that you have to. Sometimes it's just like anything is better than nothing. Because I think a lot of the time it's so easy to get stuck on, I'm going to design the logo, and I'm going to design the logo, and then you spend forever designing this logo and not actually doing the stuff that's going to get you the money or bring the business in. It's like the logo to start off with isn't that important. You need to test that you've actually got a business, and then you can invest in a better logo. And so I think I spoke about that probably after about 4 or 5 months. I was like, right, that's it. The logo is changing now, because again, I'd spotted it everywhere and I kept going and seeing it and being like, oh, there's another person using it, and oh, there's another person using it, and oh, and actually, like this horse came from, I was designing a logo for somebody else, and it was one of the concepts that I put together for them, but they didn't like it, and so I was kind of like, I'm gonna have it.
I love it.
And then I just used it in terms of my own branding, and I like to play with it in terms of the letters. That was just my way of making it slightly different, where say it goes through the A on this one, whereas it used to go through other. Sometimes I'll flip it around, but would you say that like people should, if they want some, like I think for text logos, Canva is great, but would you say for like that image, it's always good to have something a little bit unique? Or do you think that it doesn't matter too much?
If you want to stand out from everyone else, depending on your type of business as well. I mean, like farriers, for example, I've done a lot of successful logos just using a horseshoe, and a horseshoe's a horseshoe. It's not going to vary massively between one Canva image to the other. So you can get away with it, but like you said, text logos can also look really good. And if you've got a U in your business name, use a horseshoe instead of a U, and to try and be creative about it. And don't be too het up on the colours as well. People can be so, it has to be a certain Pantone colour. But the chances of me getting an embroidery thread to match that Pantone colour are pretty slim, so don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I suppose it's a bit different if it's a printed logo that you can get but even then that can still vary, can't it? I know I've had things in the past that have varied once they're printing, because it depends on the printer, I guess.
Yeah,
But
depends on what you're designing it on as well. You know, your the colours on your laptop or your phone when you're designing it on Canva could look completely different once it's printed out. So yeah.
And even then, I've had that with my website. Like the colour blue that I like in my logo on my website doesn't look the right colour, and I've then had to change it to a different colour, and it's not the colour that I use, just so that it looks right. And yeah, it is tricky. But I like to keep, like, when it comes to sort of the colours in logos, like, what colour are there colours that look better than others, or do you think that people should stick to like one colour or have like two or three? What do you think works better from your perspective?
Um, I don't think, not you know, go with what you like, but bear in mind that if you tell me you want it to be turquoise is a massive spectrum of colours, and you know the hoodies that I supply come in about 100 different colours, and about 5 of them could be interpreted as turquoise. So if you did have just white text and you went with a turquoise hoodie, there are several turquoises to choose from. So just be clear about what you want. And you know, I've got colour options, but not every colour. And like navy and black and olive green is getting more popular now as well. But if you're going to ask me for a specific shade of hoodie, you know, that's not going to happen. I can only buy what my wholesaler has got.
Yeah.
And unless if you want a specific shade and you want one item of it, then that's not just going to happen. If you want 50, I can get a manufacturer to make it for you. But you know, just one item in one specific colour isn't going to happen.
Yeah, choosing some.
Be realistic is what I'm trying to
Some
say.
base colours. I always like to go for blue, purely because I'm quite into colour psychology and what sort of things like. Yeah, and I think, well, blue's quite easy across the board. You can normally get a shade of blue that will kind of work dark blue, and then I've recently upgraded from, I was using like I don't even know what colour I'd call it. Sometimes it's pinky and sometimes it's a little bit like brown, because there's kind of this fashion trend to have that. But then I thought, actually, sometimes you need things to pop. So I like to include a bit of colour that's going to give the pop feeling, which is why I've gone for the pink, like the bright pink, because it's like, actually, I wouldn't use it all over the place. I think too much. The same with reds. I think you can go easily too much on it. But I think, yeah, the odd bit of colour can really sort of boost in terms of the branding and standing out and things. So what would your top tips be if somebody was thinking, okay, I want to go out there and I'm thinking I need some branded clothing, and what would your tips be for somebody to get ready to make sure they've got everything that they need to order some branded clothing?
So get your logo, decide on your colours, decide on a reverse colour as well. So if your logo is going to be navy blue. Oh, did I pause then? My battery was running out.
Oh,
I might have
yeah.
to plug.
I think it's okay. Yeah.
So if your logo is going to be navy blue, think of what reverse colour you could have on a navy blue garment. So you might go with white, or you might go with a paler colour blue. So get all that prepared. Set a budget as well. I have some people contact me and say, look, I've only got £100 to spend on all of my clothing. What can I do? And I might suggest ways that you can save money. For example, printing is obviously cheaper than embroidery. And then you might choose to just have the front embroidered rather than the front and the back, because then that saves money. So yes, set your budget, send me your logo, perhaps speak to an embroiderer about your logo before you decide definitely on it, because it might be that some little tweaks need to be made. And try and get it in a really high resolution format as well. If you subscribe to Canva, you can download it as an SVG, which is a high resolution file. Other than that, you know, download it as high resolution as you can. Otherwise, it's just blurry.
Yeah, so easy done, isn't it? Like that. And I think that's a good point about thinking about switching your colour so that you could test it in darker and lighter, and Yeah, that's the case. A lot of the time I'll put this in like a blue, but on my clothing I like it in white because it stands out more. So I think that's a really good point. So we've got some exciting news as well, haven't we? We're going to talk about because as it's my business birthday next month in March, and we have to, and I've got this beautiful branded clothing and everything. We spoke to everybody in the Equestrian Business Support Network, and they were like, yes, we'd love some stuff. So we're launching the Team Equestrian Business Support. This is such a big long word. So the Team Equestrian Business Support Network Team Shop. Is that what you'd call it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so people will be able to go there and actually buy some branded clothing with the Equestrian Business Support Network on it, because again, sometimes you just want to have something else to wear, like when you're out and about, and I think it's like, those of you that are in the Equestrian Business Support Network, I hope you find that it's a really supportive place, and actually you feel that you're part of the team, and that we've all got a place to go to get that support network. So what can people expect and to find in the shop, Kathryn? Like what will be there for them?
So the lovely gilet that you're modelling will be there. These cross neck hoodies as well, which have become really popular over the last few years, they will be there. Some waterproof, some soft shells. What else is there? I think that's about it.
So there'll be a whole load of really cool stuff that you'll be able to go out there and treat yourself to, and we'll also be launching a special competition for those in the Equestrian Business Support Network as well to win a gilet and a hoodie. So we'll be covering that, but I'll be announcing more details on how to enter that. So do make sure that you are in the Equestrian Business Support Network if you aren't already, so you can find out how you can win that in March as part of the big birthday celebrations. And also, we're going to do a special deal for members, aren't we? That's going to come into the Equestrian Business Support Network. So if you're thinking, I want some clothing to wear to promote my business, we're going to do a special deal with Team Equestrian in the Equestrian Business Support Network, where you can get a discount on your setup. Is that right?
Yeah.
So getting your logo set up and everything.
Yeah, and mostly to encourage the conversation. It's so easy to Google embroidered clothing, and it would come up with a multitude of different suppliers. But I really like talking to the customer and finding out what's going to work and being honest and telling somebody, that's not going to work. Have you thought about this? That could work a lot better. And like you said, the Equestrian Business Support Network is such a supportive place to be. I love being part of it and being able to help other businesses that are part of it. Makes me feel good.
That's brilliant. And so like one of the things that I love about actually having like branded clothing, because especially like with what you do, because you're there looking at from the equestrian point of view, a lot of clothes aren't actually, like, that are out there on the market for embroidery, aren't always suitable for what we do as equestrians. Like, they're not always, so you're able to advise on whether actually that's up to the job, because say we are tough on things. But I love to be able to just chuck stuff on and get on with my day job and not thinking, oh, what do I need to wear today? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm a big advocate in having that uniform, because so we've got enough things to worry about. If you chuck it on, you always look professional. People are going to see you. It's free advertising. Like, you are a walking billboard, so use it. Free advertising when you're one of these people like me that ends up in Tesco's in your wellies and stuff. That people can start, and it starts that conversation up, doesn't it? Like, when people see that, like, I've been stopped like in the supermarket car park by people going, oh, like, I'm looking for such and such locally, and I've just spotted what you're, do you work, like, do you know it? Because they just think I can ask you, which gets that conversation going. And you just never know what it leads to, do you? Like, do you find
exactly.
that other people like have that staple kind of uniform there?
Yes. Yeah. I was walking the dog the other day, and this lady walked past me. She said, "Oh, you're Horsey. Do you know any local stables?" And I was thinking, how does she know I'm Horsey? And then I realised I was wearing something that said Team Equestrian on it. I thought, well, yeah, obviously I am Horsey. But yeah, and I got into a conversation with her, and she rides, and she was looking for some embroidered stuff. So we, let me just, sorry.
The dog. The dogs always love to join me on these things, even with my clients on Zoom. I swear I spend half the time coaching the animals. Oh.
If you can do something to calm him down, that'd be great.
Oh,
but yeah, so you do get business from it, and you know, like when I go to badminton, and you're walking along the cross country course, and you know, like on the long gallop bit down to Huntsman's Woods, things like that, and you just look at a sea of people, and every single person has got a different business logo on their back. And whether it's their business or not, you know, sometimes people like to wear. I've got a few team shops of trainers and people that are trained by that person like to buy kit with that trainer's name on them, and it's sort of, you know, a way of identifying who you are and what you do.
I think we all need that feeling of having that place where we belong, that we are part of the club, part of the team, and actually being able to have that clothing and as an option, for your clients or whatever. I mean, you can differentiate them a little bit so that yours, so that people can tell who you are in turn and who are just wearing the clothes. But I think that's part of belonging, and we all feel like we need to belong. I think this is an important part, and if you can get your clients to feel like they belong through offering them some branded merchandise, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So what other advice, like in terms of sort of business or anything else, like what would your top advice be for anybody, like, because you've been around and you've done a lot of shows as well. We should touch on this because you know that I love to talk about trade shows. But like, what would your top like business tips be for somebody that you've spotted? Like, what would your top tip on business be?
Networking works. Absolute storm. I mean, that's why I love going to shows as well, is meeting people, and you sort of, you put yourself into somewhere where somebody might not necessarily have seen you unless you've gone to that show. And it just, join in the conversations, and don't be afraid to say hi to anyone, really, because you never know where it might lead you. But I think that
I think that's key. Like, I've even had clients from things where I've networked in other places, but I've met PR people that nothing to do with the horse industry. But then when somebody comes into their life they're kind of like, oh, you need to speak to Jenny, and they'll straight away be pointing people towards me. Yeah, you just never know. It's like having those conversations and being open to it. But it is hard to put yourself out there, isn't it? Have you ever struggled to like get out there and promote yourself?
Oh, massively. Yeah, I think the first 2-3 years of my business was huge imposter syndrome, and like, what am I doing here? I don't know what I'm doing. But it's like what you learn along the way, and you're only going to learn it if you get out there and do it. And I'm in a very different place now to where I was 6 years ago. Yeah, 6 years ago. Blimey, that's flown by. Of course, we had COVID in the middle of that as well. But just get out there and do it, and have confidence in yourself, and be the person that you can see yourself being in the next 5 years. That's the only way you're going to get there. And then look back on the next 5 years, on the last 5 years, and see how far you've come.
Yeah, I think that's so key, because it's so easy to get stuck in the now and like, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not, as what I often say to people, like, I've always got, what would Jenny do? Stuck right like in my eyesight, which reminds me, okay, that future Jenny that's done that's hit the goals, like, what would her advice be? And I work from that space, because I think it really helps you to go, actually, I need to step out of my comfort zone here. And there's a lot of being uncomfortable in running a business in there that you've got to get used to.
Oh and having clarity in what you're doing as well. I mean, we had a great session together just before Christmas, didn't we?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Was it? No, just after
It wasn't.
Christmas.
Yeah, it was sort of December, January time, somewhere around. Yeah, it might have even been during Christmas holidays.
I don't know where this is
All blurs
already.
into one. Yeah.
But we had a really good session of getting clarity in your business and sort of aligning your values and where you want to go to. And I think if you've set the goals, you'll get there without even realizing it. But you've just got to know where you're headed. Otherwise, you're just. I think I spent a few years just aimlessly wandering and hoping that things would come to me. But and they did. And I've been very lucky in my business. A few times had out of the blue contract come that's turned into something massive, that's led on to something else massive. But having goals of where I want to go to as well is definitely helps.
Yeah. I think you need that vision, because
Yeah.
I'll often do what I call with my clients like walking the course. It's like we need to walk the course. We need to see where we're going. We need to step into that. We need to feel that. We need to go, all right, okay, that's how I get from here to there. So you can start to see it's possible. It doesn't mean that that's going to be the path that you take when you actually have to write it, but it gives you that well, I can see how I can see it's a possibility for me, and I can feel that I could be that person. Whereas actually sometimes I think otherwise we just aim for things that just don't really align a lot of the time, and then we wonder why we're not hitting it. It's because actually deep down we're like, no, I don't really want it. So I think that's a good thing to actually have that vision and walk the course. I know, so we did a transition track audit, didn't we, that went through some of that helps you to get some clarity. So what would your advice be for somebody that's looking to start a business like you did?
I don't know, really. I don't know. I was looking. Well, my biggest tip, I think, would be if you don't love it, why are you doing it? That might sound. I mean, I do this because I love it and it fits in with my life. This is why I started running my own business, was because I had a baby and I went back to work part-time. And I just found that working part-time wasn't working for me, because I was working for a big company that was expecting me to do the same amount of work as I was doing when I was full-time. And it was just, it's your quality of life, isn't it? And then when I decided I was going to run my own business, because then I could do it in the hours that I want to, and it fits around my family. So and I love it. And do what you love, follow your heart. That's what it's a famous saying, isn't it? If you do what you love, you never work do a day's work in your life. So and don't get a puppy.
And I think that's an important thought, because otherwise you end up feeling self-resentment and bitter, because you're not actually feeling like you're doing something that you either enjoy. And even if you enjoy it, if it's not feeling right, there's something, it's trying to tell you something. So many things. And I think that's important. Like when you do get to that stage when you've got children, your priorities do change. You need that flexibility, and a lot of people need that. That's why they start the business, because they want flexibility. So it's so important that they actually know where they're going and get that strategy in place, so that the business doesn't take away that flexibility, because that's easy done too.
And it's bloody hard work. Don't kid yourself that you think that it's not going to be hard work, because it is really hard work. And you'll have those days when maybe a complaint's come in that's completely not your fault, but you really take it to heart, and you have to try and differentiate your business between the person. If somebody complains because a jacket's ripped or something, and it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, I really take it to heart, and I have to differentiate to try and think, no, they're cross at the business, they're not cross at me, they're cross at the business, and really try and differentiate your business.
It's not personal, it's business, and it's different. And
exactly. That's what I struggle with.
It's so easy to have those moments when you're triggered, isn't it? And you just think, oh, this is all because actually I need to I can't think what the word is, but I need to just work out, and a lot of it is like controlling your emotions, learning to lead yourself, learning to be able to run that business. I often say to people that there's three parts of you that's needed. You've got that coach, you've got that rider, and you've got the workhorse that's doing all the work. And it's the workhorse that gets offended. So yeah, if you're feeling like that's happening, actually it's okay. What would my coach say? If I was the coach in this situation, the coach wouldn't be standing there going, "Oh, everybody hates me." It's like they'd be going, "No, okay, how can we move this forward?" So you need to step into that different hat, that different role in your business, and bring that forward.
Definitely.
So if somebody wanted to find out more about you and what you do, or put an order in, Kathryn, where do they need to go?
My website is www.teamequestrianshop.co.uk. I've listed the most popular items on the website. But the best thing is to contact me. Send me an email. Don't ring me, because usually if I'm in the embroidery room, I won't hear the phone, and it's because it's noisy. So yeah, send me an email. Tell me what you want, or find me on Facebook, which is at Team Equestrian Shop, or Instagram, Team Equestrian Shop. And yeah, just get in touch and have a chat, rather than wondering what would work. Let's just have a chat about it.
Yeah, and seeing what's possible, because so you don't know if you don't ask, and it's about opening up, building those relationships, because you never know what they lead into, even if it's just because sometimes I'm sure there's times where people have put orders through you, and then you've been able to refer that person on, and for certain things. So that's really useful. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait to get the launch of the EBSN Team Equestrian Shop out, and see what comes. So if you want to get some Equestrian Business Support Network merch, Kathryn is your girl. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll speak to you soon.
See you soon.